Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to Mrs. Bandu's Math Movies. This is Course 2, 4th period, Lesson 2-1. We want to write and simplify expressions with exponents. So we're going to put the exponents into our order of operations, which you've already studied some this year, and also you've studied previously as well. All right, so our first step in order of operations is to do all operations within grouping symbols first. And remember, grouping symbols are parentheses, brackets, the division bar, okay, and also the absolute value symbols can act as grouping symbols as well. Then we want to evaluate any items with exponents. Third, multiply and divide in order from left to right. Remember, we go back to the left, and then in order as they show up, we multiply and divide. And finally, add and subtract in order from left to right as well. Okay, so that adds an extra letter in an acronym that we have. PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or parentheses, grouping symbols. Exponents, multiply and divide from left to right, and subtract from left to right. Okay, a couple of terms that we have as well. An exponent tells you how many times a number or base is used as a factor. Okay, so when I look here, I'm going to start right here in the middle. The base is used as a factor 3 times. Here our base is 5. The exponent is going to be 3 because we have 1, 2, 3 5s. If I wanted to find the value of the expression, I would then either use a calculator or by multiplication. 5 to the 3rd power, or 5 cubed, is 125. Okay, so this is where I would evaluate or find the value of an expression. Okay, so a power is a number that is expressed using an exponent. Okay. So, some examples of powers might be 5 to the 2nd power. You have a base of 5, an exponent of 2. The whole thing together is the power. 7 to the 4th power. 15 to the 5th, and so on. So here are 3 examples, and of course we could write a multitude of examples, but that's a good idea of what they're going to look like. Okay, writing expressions using exponents. Write 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 using an exponent. So we know the factor that's repeated over and over is the base, so that's 7. And the exponent is 4 because there are 1, 2, 3, 4 7s. So we write this as a power, 7 to the 4th power. Okay. You should do the 2 quick checks for yourself, either now or later on, whenever is most convenient for you. Let's go ahead and go to the next page. And continue with an application. A seaside village has an area of 3.2 square kilometers. Find the value of I'm sorry, I misread that entirely. A seaside village has an area of 1.3 square kilometers. Find the value of 1.3 squared. So what this means is that 1.3 is our repeated factor. So I'm really doing 1.3 times 1.3 and then multiply, and I get 1.69. Okay. If you have a calculator that has exponent keys, like the ones that we use in class, many of us, you can do this. We can type in 1.3, and then we want to type in or touch the x squared key, okay, and then hit the equal key, which gives us 1.69. Use the x squared key, as I said, to square numbers. The area of the village is 1.69 square kilometers. Okay. Notice that square kilometers is just a way that we measure area. We measure in square kilometers. So that doesn't mean to square anything. It's just a type of measurement. The thing that is squared in this particular problem was the value 1.3, because 1.3 was raised to the second power. Okay. Also, just a quick reminder, if you are wanting to raise to different powers, many calculators have a y to the x key. You would type in your base number, y to the x, your exponent, and then hit equals. Or some calculators have this little key as well, which acts like this one. You'll type in your base, touch this key, type in your exponent, and then hit equals. We have gone over this in class, and we will practice it some more as well. Now, simplifying using order of operations. We want to simplify 2 cubed times the quantity 9 minus 3 squared. Okay, so we're going to do our operations in parentheses first. 9 minus 3 is 6. So once I've done that, then I have 2 cubed, which is 2 to the third power, times 6 squared. 6 squared is another way of saying 6 to the second power. Now I'm going to find the value of the powers. Remember, this is not 2 times 3. Rather, it is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. And this is 6 squared, which is 6 times 6, which is 36. Okay. Once we found the values of the powers, we can multiply. And 8 times 36 is 288. All right. So the quick checks here ask you to simplify, use pencil and paper, a model, or a calculator. You may choose either way that you choose. Probably a calculator is going to be a little more efficient. And also, before you go on, I would like to add a little something about problems or expressions written like this. If you have something like this, you have a negative sign, a base of 2, and a power of 2, and there are no parentheses. This means the opposite of 2 to the second power. Or if you wanted to write it in numbers, -1 times 2 to the second power, which is -4. Okay? If you have an expression like this where the negative sign is not included in front of a parenthesis, you're going to end up with a negative value because it wants the opposite of squaring that base. Opposite of means you're going to change the sign on it. Back to something we had in an earlier question, one of our quick checks. This means -2 times -2. It in fact literally means that -2 is going to show up as a factor twice, and this would give us a +4. The sign on this is determined by the number of negative factors you have. Because this gives me 2 negative factors, my answer is going to be +4. One more quick, if I had done this to the third power, This means -2 times -2 times -2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 times, let's do this. -2 times -2 is +4 times -2 gives me -8. Because I have 1, 2, 3 negative factors, my final product is going to be a negative value. So here you have to remember your rules for figuring out when to use a positive sign or when to use a negative sign. Again, we'll go over more of this in class. Be sure that you have done the quick checks so that we can check them in class, and I look forward to seeing you then. Bye now.